All right, everybody, this is the How to Hunt Turkey podcast. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. I don't know about you guys who are listening, but it's been 60 degrees, 70 degrees. It's been 40 degrees. We have snow coming into Iowa today. And it's crazy because I don't travel very much for work unless it's the hunting season. And today I have to go to a different state to be a guest on a different podcast, and they have a studio, and so I'm traveling, but I'll be traveling in a snowstorm. So just timing is everything. Mr.
right,
Parker
dude.
McDonald is our guest today. Parker, long time no talk, dude.
It's been a minute, dude, and I appreciate you. I really appreciate you reaching out to me for turkeys.
Yeah.
Like I like doing a deer podcast every now and then, but when somebody wants to talk about turkeys, you're gonna get probably the better side of me, just the less cynical, more happy to be there.
Yeah.
You talk to me in about December of deer season, and I'm like, these freaking jokers are impossible to kill. I hate them. They're stupid.
Yeah,
I hate deer.
Yep.
I'm thinking about leaving my family.
Yep. And you live in Alabama, so your rut doesn't even really kick off until late, like past December anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and it's great if you travel, and I do. I usually go out of state to hunt deer in the Midwest somewhere in November, and doing some of the early season things, hunting velvet in Kentucky and things like that. But those are hard. There's still hard hunts. You're in new places, and if you're hunting at home, the season opens in like October, the beginning of October, and you got 2 months before the rut, and you're worn down, man. These guys down here, like, it's impossible. The rut's already happened. It happened back in August. Like they're just making up stuff because nobody just wants to wait that long for a rut.
Right.
But yeah, dude, turkey season's so slow. I mean, so fast rather. That and the time in between deer and turkey seasons here in the South is like a month, so you don't have that long, and then you don't really get that long to hunt them, and so it's just less stressful. I don't know. Yeah. It's like, it's easier to hunt them, and not in the actual hunt, but the gear aspect of things. It's just really, you don't need a ton of stuff. You don't have to.
Yeah.
The weather's great for camping. You don't have to think about hotel rooms and all that crap, and. I just like it. I've been talking about it to a lot of friends this week. Like, this time of the year is my favorite. It's just my favorite season change. Time change is great because you get to sleep a little longer. If you're a hunter, you get to sleep a little longer because it takes longer for the sun to come up.
Yep. That's a fact.
Just little things like that make this time of year just a little bit more refreshing for me.
Right. It was funny. I was thinking about this the other day, and this is the only, like, I don't feel this way about deer. All right. But I was thinking about what are some of my favorite things about turkey hunting, right? What are my favorite things? Like the little things, the little details. Like, I'll give you a couple examples. One is when I'm calling at a turkey and they're all in front of me responding, and then a silent one comes in behind you and you can hear them spit drum before they even gobble at all. And so you're hearing the boom, boom, and maybe even their wingtips dragging in the leaves in the timber, and you know they're behind you because you've heard it before. And like that gets your heart rate up, and you're not moving your head. You're just kind of, you're basically trying to move your eyes so hard to one direction. You're looking behind you and you can't do it. Right. So you can't do it. The other one, and this may sound bad, but dude, there's nothing better than, I don't even know if I should say this. There's nothing better than watching a turkey take a load right to the face, like a full shotgun shell right to the face before it's even opened up yet. And it's just basically a shot put hitting them right in the face, folding their head back, and they just drop and flop. And
in slow-mo.
Dude, it is
complete high definition slow motion.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Even like And I'm talking about in the woods when you're the hunter, or even better. A lot of times I've been able to see this because I can see the turkey coming in, and I'm calling for another guy. So my gun's sitting next to me, and I'm the guy calling them in, and maybe they're off to the side or in front of me a little bit, and then you actually get to see it unfold at close range. Oh my god, dude, I get fired up about that particular instance, and I don't know why it is. It's pretty extreme, but I absolutely love it.
Well, a couple things here, Dan. I feel like you've come a long ways because that's the most passionate I've ever heard you speak
Mm-hmm.
about a turkey.
Yeah.
And early on in our friendship, maybe I was a little more ecstatic about turkeys, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know,
That's the
I
truth,
hunt
dude.
Iowa. They're
Yeah.
kind of easy,
Yeah.
whatever.
Exactly.
Um, but your first thing that you said about a gobbler coming up behind you, and all you hear is the drum. That was the
Mm-hmm.
thing that hooked me into turkey hunting.
Yeah.
And I shot a lot of turkeys in Texas growing up. But it wasn't the same. Like it was
Yeah.
like I shot several of them with a rifle during deer season because it's legal, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a bunch of them. And then me and Dad would go out in the springtime and we would go and hunt them. And I called them, like I watched Real Tree and all this stuff, but it wasn't like the same,
Yeah.
But then I was into my 20s, younger 20s in Georgia, living in Georgia. And I got on this lease and it had turkeys on it, and I actually got on it right in at the beginning of turkey season because I was like, I kind of want to go turkey hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got into this club and immediately started turkey hunting and learning. I was listening to a lot of podcasts. It's like when I started listening to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you even did a couple of turkey podcasts then. Mark may have done a couple of them, but there was a guy, Andy Galliano, I think is how you say his last name. He has the Turkey Hunter podcast, and so I was just kind of diving into the whole culture of
Yeah.
turkey hunting. I didn't really know like oh, you go and get a tree closer to them if you can. Like you go chase these jokers through the
Yeah.
woods. You don't just wait for them to come to the food plot or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Like you can get up and chase them. And I was just learning all that kind of stuff. And I'll never forget this. I'd hunted these turkeys for several days, like multiple days, and they were always in the same spot right on the property line of our club. And they would gobble, and I'd be sitting on this food plot and get so excited, like I'm going to kill one. And I
Mm-hmm.
never would. Like it just for days and days and days this happened. And I finally listened to something that told me that to go after them.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I ended up calling in my first longbeard. And it was he was probably 300 yards away the last time he gobbled. And I just sat there in this little ditch, and probably within an hour, I just sat there. And within an hour, here he came behind me, and the first thing I heard was that spit and drum, which was a
Mm-hmm.
foreign sound to me. I didn't know what it
Yeah.
was. It's like it shook me to my core. And I just kind of peek over, like you were talking about, like just peek over out of the corner of my eyes. And he was maybe 10 steps away from me.
Mm-hmm.
My setup was god awful. I was on the side of a hill in a
Mm-hmm.
ditch where I couldn't move. I was in a prone position, like kind of laying down. And like, it was just awful, like the worst
Yeah.
turkey hunting setup ever.
Yeah.
And he was there, and I swung around and tried to shoot him, and he putted off. But that was the thing that was like, I mean, dude, it got my
Yeah.
chest thumping. I can't describe that feeling of like
Yeah.
just hearing that drum so close and not knowing what it is. Like it sounds like you're getting, you know, abducted
Yep.
by aliens. It's like, what the crap is that? Why do I feel this in my soul? And
I
like
always
it
thought it's
just got me.
Yeah. I always thought it sounded like bass in a car from a long distance. Like if someone was bumping music, I was like, that's him. He's coming. I can hear him because it sounded like boom, 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 like a long ways away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Yep.
there ain't no bass in these woods, buddy. That's a tom turkey coming in somewhere. So,
Yep.
dude, I love it. Do you remember your first bird you ever killed?
Yeah, I do. It's unconventional though. I
Is it
remember the
from
very first
rifle
turkey that
season?
I killed. Yeah.
Rifle season, Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was actually the day. I guess I would have been a sophomore in high school,
Mhm.
maybe. maybe a junior, and my sister was younger, and we had taken my sister out on our lease for her very first deer hunt. And that morning, she hunted with my dad, and I hunted by myself. I had a little tripod set up in this little creek bottom. It was a pretty cool little setup.
Yeah.
It was an opening day rifle, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so Morgan, my sister, she shoots her first deer that morning with dad, and I was just sitting there. I hadn't seen anything, and this big longbeard just walks right up to the feeder,
Right.
and I was like, I kind of want to kill something with my sister.
Mhm.
That'd be fun. And so
Yeah.
I shot him. It was a bow setup too. That's the worst part. Is he was probably 10 yards maybe away. I was up high in a tripod. He had no idea I was there, and I shot him with 30-06 right
Nice.
in the body. It was like I just
feathers everywhere.
That's why, yeah, it was the giant hole in him.
Yeah.
There was basically nothing that we could eat left on this turkey. And I think back to it now, and I mean, I think it's a hilarious story.
Yeah.
That part of Texas is in a, like, I killed several hens with a rifle, like it was just, there was so many turkeys. Yeah. During the rifle season,
dude.
you could.
That's crazy.
Not during spring. Now during spring, it was, gobblers only, but yeah, I killed several hens with a rifle. We had one hen that her name was Gimpy, because she just kind of, kind of hobbled along, and this super hillbilly guy in our group, he started naming her Gimpy, and I shot her with a rifle.
Nice.
One day.
Nice.
I know real turkey hunters, and even myself a little bit, like, kind of cringe when you hear those kind of stories.
Yeah.
A little bit, because it's just so different now.
Yeah.
But that's why I say, like, I wasn't a turkey hunter until that time in my 20s, that story.
Yeah.
But I killed a couple turkeys, like I killed several spring turkeys with a shotgun, more conventionally, I guess, for a West Texas turkey hunt. But I just didn't know. It was ignorance. They were just, to us, they were nothing really more than corn vultures.
Yeah.
And they just ate all the deer corn. And so it's like, I heard lots of gobbling back then, but for whatever reason, it just didn't hook me in the same way. Like, I heard all these vocalizations, and it'd be kind of cool, like, to hear them in the morning. It's like, oh, the turkeys were gobbling like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we didn't, like, now when I'm back in Texas or somewhere where there's a lot of turkeys and I hear it during deer season, it's like, oh God, it kind of gets me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first turkey. My first actual real turkey hunt was a Jake, and it was that same year that I said I was in Georgia, and it was conventional as it can get. Like, I was sitting up on a tree, and they were gobbling. The two Jakes came in, gobbling their heads off, and I shot one, and dude, it was like, I mean, at the time, I was like, Jake, like Longbeard. To me, at that point, there was really no difference. It was kind of all the same. Like, I'm here to kill a male turkey, but he gobbled, and he did all the stuff that you want him to do, and it was awesome. And like, I was hooked with that drum, but that kind of sealed the deal for me. And I've been as hardcore about it. My wife says I'm kind of messed her over on this deal, because when we first got married, I wasn't super into turkeys. I didn't really care about them. I started doing this probably year 2 of our marriage, and it's escalated ever since. It's come to the point where I typically am going to choose to travel most during turkey season rather than deer. I prefer it.
I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question here. What do you think has ended more marriage? Turkey season or deer season? Southern boys, the Southern crew may have a different answer than the Midwest guys.
Well, I would say deer for us, because our deer season is so long. Like I said earlier, our deer season goes from October till February. I hunt Kentucky and Tennessee early season stuff where, I start hunting at the end of August, and I don't quit until February 10th.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's almost happened to me before. My wife she seems to be a lot more forgiving, understanding. deer and turkey just because it just doesn't last as long. It's just
Yeah.
so much. And also, here's another thing about Alabama. Most of my turkey hunting is done on public land, so we have a 1 p.m. cutoff, and
Oh
so
yeah, I
like
forgot about that.
I go
Yeah.
hunt the mornings, and I'm home in time to pick up the kids from school. So it's
Yeah.
just a lot less. Deer hunting's not like that. Deer hunting's like you get up at 2:30 in the morning, you get back at 4, 5, 6, something like that if you hunt all day, and you're beat, you're tired,
Yeah.
you've been up since 2. You're
Yeah.
not. Turkey's just it's less intrusive in your life. The other thing too, like I said earlier, I love to travel during turkey season because the weather's so much better. Like it's
Yeah.
just camp weather. You don't have to
Yeah.
get an Airbnb. You're not miserable outside. It's nice weather. We start out in Florida
Mhm.
where we turkey hunt basically on the beach and like it's like spring break trip with killing stuff.
Yep.
And then we end somewhere usually out west where it's the seasons have just changed and you got like, you know, 40-degree mornings and
Yep.
70-degree days. It's just nice. It's a nice time of
Yeah.
year to camp and I can also get the kids out more,
Yeah.
going to turkey hunt. And so that yeah, I can't say for everybody. It does seem like deer kills a whole lot more marriages
Yeah.
than turkeys do.
Yeah.
Uh but
I
yeah,
feel that.
it's a the I think for me my wife simply likes me a little bit better cuz I'm in a better mood.
Yeah.
Like I just in a better mood during turkey season. I'm
There
easier
you
to
go.
handle.
There you go. All right. Before we get into the rest of the episode, I got to send a huge shout out to our partners over at our partner over at Montana Decoy. Montana Decoy has a full lineup of just a variety of different decoys, whether you're going out west to hunt elk, whether you are hunting whitetails, mule deer, if you're trying to get behind a big cow to get closer to an antelope, you name it, they have it. The reason I'm bringing them up on today's episode is because they also have a brand new lineup of turkey decoys. I've been using the Montana decoys now for a handful of years, probably 5 now, and what I like about them is they're built almost like an accordion, where you can smash them down, put a little buckle around it, and then stuff them back in your bag. And so, like, if you're a running gun turkey hunter, public land, private land, whatever, you pop that sucker out of your bag, undo the clip, it pops up, stick it in the ground, and you're ready to go in a matter of seconds. So, that they're durable, they have the realistic printing on them as well. So go check out montanadecoy.com. All right. You're Alabama, and that's probably where you are. Is that where you're doing most of your turkey hunting these days? Is Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, what I like to do is I travel in the beginning and then
Mm-hmm.
travel again at the end. Um,
Gotcha.
and a lot of the Midwestern states are still open when we start kind of winding down. But the thing
Yeah.
is, I would if we only had one turkey tag or two turkey tags here, I'd probably travel a whole lot more. But we get 4, and
Damn, dude.
it's like I'm like a turkey's a turkey to me. Alabama turkey is arguably one of the harder
Yeah.
gobbling, funner turkeys to hunt. So like if
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to shoot 4 of those or go shoot one in, somewhere else, Ohio, I'd probably
Yeah.
just assume stay at home. It's the same bird. It's just all
Yeah.
easterns. Then
Yeah.
I can go hunt Rios and Merriam's later, closer to May if I
Mm-hmm.
want to, which I'm going to do this year. The plan is to go to the West Coast and hunt Rios and Merriam's over there. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Where at on the West Coast?
It's kind of all up in the air. Potentially Oregon, potentially Idaho, potentially Utah,
Nice.
Northern California, Washington. Like those are kind of all
Yeah.
the ones that we're looking at. We're kind of looking at number one flights. I'm going to get a flight there,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's just some logistics stuff. Where's the
Yeah.
cheapest place to get a flight into? If it's Salt Lake City or Boise, I don't know the
Yeah.
towns over there.
Yeah.
I will say this: Northern California is high on my radar, just
Yeah.
because maybe it's a principle thing. I just want the first time that I go to California to kill something. Just I don't know the Southern Republican
Right.
side of me, I
Right.
guess, is like
Yeah.
screw those guys. I want to go kill something over in their state.
Right. So here's something
Um,
crazy, and I wish I would have known this about California before I went there. So I've done the Napa Valley trip with my wife over the summer one year, and then we did Sonoma Valley too. So they're right next to each other, and we did the wine tasting and the wine country thing. But there are during the spring, some, not all of them, but some of these vineyards offer turkey hunts. And so you can go hunt on the back end of a vineyard, and they have turkeys that live in these vineyards, and they even have blacktail that live in the vineyards, and they have people that, like, maybe you want to call them outfitters, where they'll help set the hunt up for you, and then or guide of sorts, where they'll tell you, okay, I've already cleared it with this vineyard. You're allowed to go sit it right here, pretty fairly strict, but they have them, dude. And so
yeah,
I wish I would have known that before I went, so I could have went during a hunting season, to go and, shoot a turkey in a vineyard.
yeah. I mean, it's got a lot of wildlife in
Uh,
California, especially Northern California, from what I
yep.
understand. It's and also the other thing that I've been told that it's not quite like what you think about the rest of the state of California.
Yeah.
Like as far as the people go,
Oh yeah. 100%.
and so I've noticed that pretty much anywhere I've ever traveled, Western or Midwestern, you go to the states where they say people are rude or that they're one way or the other,
Right.
and you go to and you're like, these are the same people that we have back home, except they have northern accents.
Yeah. They,
That's
they grow,
that's about
they
it.
grow grapes instead of corn and cotton. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Um, Okay. Well, that's cool, dude. I want to run through a couple scenarios with you. Okay. I figured today we would talk about, like, what we would do if these, and then throw some different scenarios out there, and and just kind of walk through different scenarios, talk about what we would do, how we would hunt these birds, that kind of stuff. And you can maybe reference the places that you've hunted turkeys. I'll reference the places that I've hunted turkeys, which is mostly just Iowa. And well, shit, I can remember I lived in Alabama, just, I believe, right around the area that you lived back in
Mhm.
2004, 2005. And I hunted in Bankhead National Forest. And to this day, it is the only time I've ever been lost in, because this was before I had Onyx or any maps. This is before I had a smartphone where I could pull up GPS and things like that. So I, I can remember going out and trying to hunt in Bankhead National Forest and end up getting lost chasing turkeys. So
It is, easy to get lost in those hills too.
yeah,
That's,
exactly.
if you
And
don't
there
if you
was
don't have a map,
Yeah,
especially.
there's no sun that day. It was heavily clouded, and I threw a crow call out, and I got a response from a tom in there, and so I went right after him, right? And so I went down in there, and I chased him a little bit deeper and a little bit, he went right, I went right, he went left, I went left, and he just kind of kept going away from me. And then it was one of those days where there's no noise, right? There's no noise. I could hear airplanes overhead, but there was no shadows because it was so overcast. So I couldn't tell what direction I was going. And so I just started guessing. And I was in the woods for 8 hours looking for my way back, looking for boot tracks, like all that shit. And it just did not, it wasn't working. And I started to get real nervous. My cell phone at the time was not working. I may have even left it in my truck. Um, and then I heard a dog bark, and I was able to just walk a straight line to where I thought that, where that, dog was at. And I found
Mhm.
the road. I came up on the road. I looked to my left. I can remember walking up out down into the ditch on the road. I looked back, and 200 yards down the road's my truck. It was bananas, dude. And dude, it's the only time I've ever been lost while hunting.
That's it'll do that to you. Those hills
Yeah,
they'll get you.
yeah,
It's dense woods and pretty good. I mean, I'm
yeah,
not going to say they're the biggest. I've been to West Virginia. West Virginia, it's tough to beat the
yeah,
terrain there, but the hills of northern Alabama can get you. Like
yeah,
they're pretty intense.
yeah.
It's funny. Like a lot of times you hear somebody drop the name of a place,
Hmm.
you know, and you said Bankhead National Forest, and my gut like kind of was like, oh crap, we can't hotspot whatever. But I would gladly invite somebody to come and hunt the national forest of Bankhead.
Yeah,
Um, like I feel bad. I was telling somebody the other day, I feel really bad for non-residents who just don't know any better,
yeah,
and they travel and they spend their vacation, their spring breaks coming and hunting Bankhead National Forest for turkeys, and like
yeah.
it's just not it's not the
Not a
move, you
fun,
know?
not
Yeah.
fun. But hey, you know the area, and I'm sure you have your little honey holes. But it's the same thing. It was like going to chase elk in Colorado or Wyoming, and you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Colorado, and I'm going to climb to
Yeah.
10,000 feet, and I'm going to try to kill an elk, and then you just get your ass kicked for however many days you decide to go out there, and you want to quit, and you're just like, holy shit, this is a lot harder than what I thought.
I heard somebody the other day, they said this, they're like, a lot of people are comparing elk hunting and turkey hunting, like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing, just a little bit bigger animal, but
Hmm.
he's like, I'm just here to set the record straight. Here's the difference. One of them, only 10% of people that go after them are going to even be successful.
Hmm.
They'll drive you mad. You'll spend days and days and days on end just trying to get a shot off chasing these jokers through the woods.
Hmm.
And he goes and he talks about all the hard reasons why, this one right here is the thing. Like it ends marriages, it drives men mad, and the other one's elk hunting.
That's funny. That's funny.
I thought it was pretty funny. It tickled me because it's like it's true. You go out, man, and especially deer hunters, guys who are deer hunters
Yeah.
and have not ever turkey hunted. I've been in this position before. I've been this guy where you're just like, yeah, they're easy, man. They just come
Hmm.
right underneath your stand. They're dumb birds,
Yeah.
whatever. And then you go out and try to hunt them in the spring, and you realize, oh, they're okay. I think I see
Yeah.
why. And I just simply I don't trust somebody who doesn't. Once they get to experience and they're like, nah, it's still kind of stupid. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
then you suck. You're not the
Yeah.
kind of person I want to be around.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Um,
So,
but yeah, we're talking about hypotheticals and things. Um, I think that's the best way to learn about turkeys.
yeah.
You know, I can think of very few like scenarios that have been replicated over the years. Maybe a couple, but it's like every turkey. One of the reasons why I really love turkey hunting is because every single hunt it's got a different theme. It's got a different story,
Yeah.
um, a different tactic. You do something different. Like, and if you're an analytical person like I am, I'm this way with deer and turkeys. Like, I want to know why I killed that bird. Like, if I
Yeah.
could give it a reason, I don't just want to sit there and think like, oh, you just lucked into a turkey or you just lucked into a deer. I want to know why I did it. And
Yeah.
with deer, it's a little bit easier to verbalize, I think. And that's why there's so much that people talk 365 days about deer hunting tactics. Turkey hunting feels very simple when you're talking about it until you start talking
Yeah.
about different scenarios.
Yeah.
What you do in the rain. Well, I can think of this one time where I killed this bird in the rain because XYZ.
Yeah.
And I think that those are the ways where guys, when they find themselves in a similar scenario, they can look back on a podcast that they heard and say, okay, this worked for Dan or this worked for Parker,
Yeah.
and maybe it'll work for me. And it just kind of opens up it expands your toolbox a little bit more.
Right.
And it's hard to do it just taking like a subject about like we couldn't really just take one subject and talk about it for an hour. I think it's you got to do these different scenarios because that's how people learn. That's how I've learned about turkeys for sure.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's do it then. All right. Parker
Yeah.
McDonald, and we'll bounce back and forth here. It's it's morning hunt. You're up, you're wherever you're gonna be. You get to your spot. It's a spot you know about. It's a spot maybe you've hunted before. Um, you get to the spot. There's no gobbles. It's a quiet morning. You don't hear turkeys at all, but your gut tells you they're there. What are you doing?
Hmm. Well, that's a lot of mornings for me. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. Like I said, these turkeys out here where I live, it's a blessing and a curse because they're pretty tough. I'm not gonna say they're the
Hmm.
toughest turkeys in the world to hunt, but I have had years where, I've heard two gobbles. Um, One of the first years I was filming, and it may have been when I was still filming for the Sportsman's Empire
Hmm.
YouTube channel. That particular year here at home, I heard two gobbles, and I killed two turkeys. Like
All
it
season.
really also well here at home. I
Yeah.
traveled some and went to different parts of the state that are better hunting, but where I live is tough. And I heard those two gobbles all season, and I killed two turkeys. And so it teaches you that when there's lacking a lack of gobbles, and I've thankfully gotten better at locating and learning
Hmm.
where turkeys are typically at since that point. And so that hasn't happened since then. But I don't go a lot of mornings without hearing gobbles. And I'll say this: I go a lot of mornings without hearing gobbles, and still end up killing a turkey that day
Yeah.
because it's just required a whole bunch of patience to hunt them here.
Yeah.
Like I will sit on a bird. If I hear a bird gobble back to me, that's very important. If I hear a bird gobble back to me, to my calling at any point in the morning, whether he's on the limb, if he's on the ground, whatever, if I don't feel like I can get on that bird, I'm going to sit my butt down and I'm going to sit there until 10 or 11 o'clock. So that has made me very patient in turkey hunting, to the point where if I don't hear a turkey gobble, well, then I'm going to go back. Maybe I heard one gobble 2 or 3 days before then. If there's if I have some knowledge or reason to believe that there is a turkey there, I'm going to stay. I mean, I'm going to stay put. If I find the sign or the habitat that I think they like, I'm going to stay put. And I can't, like, it's a very low percentage of the time that you actually end up killing on a day like that, for
Hmm.
sure, but it happens, you know? It certainly happens. I'm gonna go to where if I don't hear a gobble that morning, just to kinda get back to your first question. If I don't hear a gobble that morning, I'm gonna go to the place that I have the most reason to believe there is a turkey there. If
Hmm.
it's somewhere I hunted earlier in the week where I knew there was a bird, if it's right there, chances are if I'm there that morning, like, I have a reason to be there in the first place, you
Yeah.
know? And so I'm just gonna stay put. I'm not gonna throw in the towel probably until 10:30, 11 o'clock. That might be where I'm like, okay, this day's kind of a bust. If I stay here any longer, maybe I'll kill a turkey, but really, chances are I will not.
Right.
Like that's when I start getting that feeling. But first light, you don't hear a turkey gobble, you know,
But,
it's
so
not.
you're just riding the patience train at that point, and you're trying to,
Yeah,
um, yeah, man. Old Dan Johnson would have been like, later, dude. I'm going to get coffee and breakfast. Like, I'm not sticking around and playing this game. I I used to be uh, a fair weather turkey hunter where if it was windy, I'm gone. If it was wet, I'm gone. If they weren't gobbling, I'm gone. I would give non-gobbling birds a little bit more chance. I would get to a spot like a field edge where I could see if they come out and start to strut or something like that. But I really wasn't putting in a lot of energy unless it was perfect, right? It wasn't until a handful of years ago that I would like sit out all day,
yeah.
and just like bounce, just like, okay, they're not gobbling here, let's go down here and see if we can strike one up, and a little bit more active when following them around. But um
In your case though, Dan, in a place in the Midwest where you talk about having a lot of fields and agriculture and things, it's not too far removed from deer in that you have a that's kind of your reason to believe there's a turkey there if there's a big field, and also there's probably more I'm not gonna say, I hate saying that your state's better than mine or whatever. There's probably just more turkeys per square mile or whatever. So like that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
If I find myself in Tennessee, you know, if I don't hear a turkey gobble, I'm probably gonna adopt that same mindset just because I
Yeah.
know in Tennessee, chances are there's a turkey somewhere around here. I just got to
Yeah.
find him. Where I'm hunting in a lower populated place or a place where the turkeys don't gobble as much, like Florida, you just don't have those same assurances that you maybe get in another state where they gobble a lot more. There's a lot more of them.
Hmm.
So you know I I'm not that patient everywhere, but I will say I've had plenty of days in Tennessee or wherever, just not good gobbling days where they're just
Yeah.
not talking at all. And that's when you kind of have to go back to, all right, I know there's turkey here. I just got to be patient. I got to sit on
Yep.
them. I got to, you know, really work to it. And sometimes that means doing what you're talking about, kind of letting the ADHD take over and
Hmm.
not staying still. And sometimes it's, if I got a good reason to believe there's a turkey here, that's the important part. I have
Yeah.
to have that reason to believe that.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit here and I'm going to waste a lot of my day potentially just to sit here and make sure 10:30 rolls around, he never gobbles, you never hear anything. Okay, let's figure out something new or go or throw in the towel for the day.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm. uh, That's where I just like. I don't know. I've really had to listen to guys like you and other serious. That's like the patience game because I was not a patient turkey hunter at all, and everybody I talk to is like, yeah, just I'm a little bit more patient with them. Especially if they're gobbling and and they are responding, but they're not closing the distance. Like I used to just call and call and call and call, and then they would never even have a chance to get worried about moving in because they know exactly where I'm at. Like, why aren't you coming to me? Most of the time, those toms are henned up and all of that stuff. So, I was, I definitely would call too much in a scenario like that. All right, now let's say it's a hot, it's kind of a same scenario. Like we're talking about non gobbles, like we're not hearing them gobble, but instead of just like it being a good day and they're not gobbling, what about if it's weather? Uh, the reason they're not gobbling is because it's extreme wind, which they could be gobbling, you can't hear it, or it's wet weather like rain.
I mean, I'm gonna find it almost. I'm not gonna say it helps. It doesn't help if I'm in a place where there's fields
Hmm.
and open land. If on a rainy day, a crappy day, I'm gonna stick close to those places.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna probably find myself in a pine thicket or anything like that. Where I hunt here at home in a lot of the state of Alabama, it's not that. It's fields, cutovers,
Hmm.
road beds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said fields, woods,
Yep.
hardwoods, no fields, cutover. It's very big woods land, and
Hmm.
so that is a good thing. I'm gonna number one, I'm gonna find property lines where I know they might have food plots out there. That's a big thing out here. You find a hunting club that's bordering public. They have a lot of food plots for whatever reason right on the property lines, and so I've killed lots of turkeys that way,
Hmm.
pulling them off of a food plot on a rainy day, or not a rainy day. I mean, really just pulling them off a food plot, off of private land. But on a
Yeah.
rainy day, I'm going to stick close to those areas. If I don't have that option, I'm going to find those open road beds in Florida. Florida's a great example because you got a lot of swamp, you got a lot of woods, a lot of real thick stuff. In Florida, if it's raining or not, those road beds are a huge thing for these turkeys, especially in the rain though. Like, because
Yeah.
that's a lot of time in low lying areas, where you got a lot of swamp stuff. That's the highest ground that they've got, and so on the rain, it just kind of you're able to mark a whole lot of places off of your map. Now, again, that's not to say that there ain't going to be turkeys in the pine thicket in the
Yeah.
rain. They might be
Yeah.
there, um, but just with what I know about a turkey during the rain, I'm
Hmm.
going to go to the most open area. And again, I'm just going to be patient in that area.
Yeah.
Just knowing like, okay, this is a limited resource in this area. Turkeys typically like to be in the, like, does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
you're crossing off a whole lot of property on a rainy day,
Yeah.
and that can be a good thing. I mean, it really can. You don't get the magical bluebird skies,
Yeah.
high pressure, cool morning with a turkey gobbling every step all the way to your gun barrel.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's I said this to my dad after I killed a less than desirable buck this year. I was like, it's kind of like having sex. Every time can't be the best time, you know, but it doesn't make it not good. Killing a turkey in
Exactly.
the rain isn't always the best thing in the world, but dadgummit, it's still fun.
It's still fun. Yep. Yep. My wife would beg to differ, and not about the sex, but about the turkey hunting.
Every time's the best time.
No, no. Dude, the first 3 years we went turkey hunting, she didn't get a bird. And
Hmm.
so it was wet, it was windy the season that we decided to go, and she struggled. Then she went like 3 or 4 years in a row killing a bird after that, but she had to sit through a lot of like less than desirable turkey hunts in order for her to shoot her first bird. Um so yeah, that's funny. Um so when the weather is involved, do you find them do you do you find them still gobbling, or do is it their attitude is the same as it would be a regular day, but just in a different location?
Man, I mean, I could tell you yes or no. I could go
Mm-hmm.
either way, and I could think of a situation that kind of
Yeah.
trumps it.
Right.
Um,
Right.
this is what's just taught me to go. If all things are equal, you got the time. Let's say you're on a week long trip. I think a lot of guys can find themselves in that scenario. You're on a week long trip. You have no other responsibility other than hunting. I see a lot
Yeah.
of people choose the rainy days to not hunt, and
Yeah.
or the windy days to not hunt. And I certainly have my fair share of those whenever there's something that you need to do. If you're like, well, this is the best day to move locations for sure,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to do some things, like I get that. Um, but I've at the same time, like I've also had plenty of those days that I came out of the woods with a turkey. And so you're just
Yeah.
like, could it happen today? The answer is yes. Could you
Yeah.
find a fired up gobbler in the middle of a rainstorm? The answer is yes, you could. And I can
Yeah.
think of times when it's happened to me. They're less likely, but it doesn't mean that it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, I would say most of the time, yeah, they're going to be little quieter. They're not going to gobble nearly as hard. Um, if they are gobbling as hard, it probably has a whole lot more to do with the rain and the noise. You're not able to hear it quite as good or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say if you have the time, be there those days. They're still worthwhile because you could find a fired up gobbler that's ready to die.
Ready to go. Yep.
On
Yep.
average, I would say the bluebird perfect mornings, cool. Those are they're the best mornings. Like I'm gonna do everything I can. It's kind of like deer hunting.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
do everything you can to go when November 7th comes around and it's a cold front. You're like, okay, that's the most likely time that I'm gonna do it. But if you got the time, be there.
Yeah. For
Like
sure.
whether it's raining or not.
For sure. What sucks worse for you? Wet weather or high wind?
Hmm. I'd have to say, hmm.
I guess what would you rather hunt in? High wind or rain? And I'm not talking thunderstorms. I'm talking
Probably
like
rain.
rain. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's
probably
interesting.
rain because the whole point of turkey hunting, I would say, is the sounds. Like
Yeah.
that's the main. uh, that's your main sense that you're
Yeah.
using in turkey hunting is
Right.
sound, both for you and for the turkey. Like
Yeah.
you want them to hear you, you know.
Yeah.
Rain does not always affect the sound. Like you can hear, they can hear you. It at the very least cuts through, dude. I've hunted some high wind days where you're like, what am I freaking doing here?
Yeah.
Like I got I got nothing. I got no reason. I got no business being here right now because
Yeah.
unless I just know, again, this goes back to the first question. If I have a reason to believe there's a turkey in this area, I'll hunt it
Yeah.
and I'll be there. But
Yeah.
if you don't, you can't do anything in the wind.
Yeah.
As far as you can't pull a turkey from a mile away in a high wind day.
Right.
Um, so I would
Right.
say rain. I would rather hunt rain.
Okay. Here's a scenario that happens to me every single season now. Um, the first year I ever turkey hunted, I called a tom in right off the roost. He walked right up to me at like the first minute of shooting, legal shooting, and I smoked him. Right. And I thought that's how easy turkey hunting was. Right. Fast forward several years later, um, the old phrase "henned up." Okay. How do you approach a tom who is responsive to you but is henned up?
So this is, I would say, the majority of my turkeys have been killed this way.
Yeah.
It's henned up birds. I've killed a couple of them, especially later in the season, right off the roost or early
Yeah.
morning type deals. And I've killed a couple of them early season that were by themselves, but I would say the majority of the time they're henned up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's taught me the patience game. There's just like this magical time where they get away from their hens. And I don't think it's
Yeah.
them getting away from their hens, it's their hens getting away from them.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times, sometimes it's early, sometimes it's 8, 8:30, sometimes it's, 11, sometimes it's 1, like,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a good chance at some point he's not gonna be with his hen. He's gonna get kind of flustered about it. He's gonna let out some gobbles and he's gonna try to find a hen. And here's the thing that I've seen happen so many times. And I call it a volley, like when you go back and forth with a gobbler, if he ever volleys with me, like if he'll
Mm-hmm.
ever answer me, not just a gobble on his own. I'm talking about if he ever cuts me off or within a few seconds of my call, he gobbles. I know that he is aware of the presence of another hen, right?
Yeah.
And if he's aware of that, man, I mean, there's a good chance whenever he gets rid of her, when she gets rid of him, the one that he's with, he's going to come and check that last place where he heard one.
Yeah.
And so if I ever get them to answer me, that's the times when I'm committed. I have a reason to be there. I might get up closer. It's not like I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm just gonna be okay. If I feel like I can get up on him and kill him, I'm gonna do it right then and there. But if it
Yeah.
seems like he's getting away from me, you say henned up. So the assumption is that she's carrying him away,
Mm-hmm.
further away. She does not want him to come to you. I mean, there. I would say most of the time I'm going to look at, can I go in and try to kill him right now? Can I cut him off? Can I
Mm-hmm.
figure out a way to get a little bit closer to him? But if I've exhausted all efforts and I don't kill him right there at the beginning, I'm going to stay at the last place that he heard me and I'm going to hunt him. Like
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay there. I'm going to be there. And most of the time, it's an hour, 2 hours before you hear a gobble again. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
other thing. A lot of times there's a certain time right after fly down where they'll stop gobbling, period. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when most people say I got into a henned up gobbler and I just couldn't kill him. Um, I mean, he's henned up now, but the chances are he's not going to be all day. And
Yeah.
so 10:30 rolls around and I still call. I'll still do some soft calling. Even if
Yeah.
they've stopped, I'll kind of sit there every 15 or so minutes, let out a yelp or something like that. It's just something that's
Mm-hmm.
louder. And I'll do that, like I say, until 10:30 or 11 most of the time. And if I haven't heard anything at that point, I might try to get up a little closer to the direction they went or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to pursue him, but I'm not um, I'm not giving up on him, basically. Like, if there's
Yeah.
ever a volley. So, like, and then sometimes he's not answering me. I know there's a gobbler there. He's not answering me at all. He gobbles very little, that still might be reason enough for me to believe. If I can look at the terrain, I can think of a situation last year when I was with my son. We had a very similar situation. It was 2 gobblers and they had hens, but I was looking at the terrain and I was like, okay, they have no interest in us right now. This was right off the roost, really early in the morning. They got no interest in us right now, but they're going to go to the end of this point, and at the end of that point is a highway.
Mm-hmm.
They might cross it, but probably they won't cross it. They're going to go to the other side. There's nothing there. It's a steep bank of rocks, and a really like bluffed out creek bottom. They're probably not going to go that way either.
Yeah.
They're eventually going to turn around and come right back to us, and that's exactly what they did. And so that was a reason for me to believe that if we stay right here, we can get back on these turkeys probably at some point, even if they still got the hens with them.
Yeah.
Long story short on that one, we did not kill the turkey, but it was having a 5-year-old with me at the time when I'm trying to get on a turkey.
Do
like
it.
And he did so good, man. Like it was a great hunt. He did so good. We should have killed the turkey, but the bird made a last minute move when he was coming back. They started coming back to us, and he made a last minute move, came onto the public. The reason we couldn't go after him was because they were on private, and so we had to stop. About 11 o'clock, they came back onto the public, and he just made a hard left to where we had to move. We were in a perfect setup. I mean, it was as good as you could ask for with a 5-year-old next to you.
Yeah.
And he made a last minute move, and we had to move on him. And when we made that last move, it was a tough one. He was on the side of a hill, and it was just going to be hard. But those, if we would have just simply given up the moment that they turned around and started going the other way, we'd have never had that hunt.
Mm-hmm.
That could have just as easily ended in a kill. Like I thought we were going to kill that turkey.
Yeah.
But I mean, and like that's an example that we didn't kill one.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the turkeys that I've killed in my life, especially on public, have been the scenario where they were henned up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can think of just very few that were by themselves, and usually those are not the ones they're all worth talking about, but those are the ones that are like, yeah, he was gobbling like crazy all the way to the gun barrel, and they're fun hunts, but they're not normal.
Right.
Not normal at all.
Right. I look back at all of the times I thought a turkey was henned up. Okay. And a tom was henned up. And really what it was is just exactly what you said. And that is that the period of time after fly down, they're just milling around, and they're not necessarily, it's not like 2 toms in a tree. First one there's gonna get the right to breed the hen. It's not like that. There's other hens in the area, multiple, maybe jakes and toms all mixed in with each other. They fly down. He probably goes into strut right away, but it's almost like they're waking up in the morning. They're just waking up a little bit, and I call, they respond. I call, they respond. I know he's there, but then what I do is I know that these turkeys are trying to get out to the ag field. I just know it. But am I letting them get there? No. I'm just calling and calling and calling, and then they eventually go the other direction. And so I think I look back at that now where I just need to shut up in a scenario like that and try to get them to come to me with patience and just maybe some very light calling, just to let them know, hey, I'm still here. Or a lot of times what I do is whatever kid I'm hunting with first, my stepdad and the other kid will sit 100 yards behind, and then they'll call a little bit, which will bring, like, that's worked for us before, where the guy, one guy a long distance away, 100 yards or so, will keep calling and kind of, okay, well, they're moving away from us, which means we're going to move through, and that's how we get them. But that's just another scenario of me over calling to hen up toms, which the hens probably want to come to investigate, and I've done that before. I've had a hen come in and investigate and pull a tom through. because I was calling, and she would cut me
Mm-hmm.
off, or I would cut her off, or that. And that always intrigues me of why a bird, I'm guessing it's something aggressive. It's just like a territory or dominance or something like that. But why, anytime a hen calls and you cut a hen off, why she would be pissed at that? I don't know. I find that intriguing.
Yeah, it's like I wish my wife was that territorial on me. You know what I mean? like there is
That's
a.
my man.
It's funny, and most of the turkeys that I've killed in Florida did have hens with them.
Yeah.
It was situations just like what you're talking about, where you piss off the hen enough and she
Hmm.
comes in. And it's kind of funny. I guess I've never really thought about that difference of Florida. I've killed very, I've had very few encounters with gobblers that did not have a hen.
Yeah.
Like we're usually, some of them have been gobbling, it's been good gobble hunts, but,
Yeah.
um, pretty much all of them have had hens with them. It's really hard to pull them away. So you're almost left doing what you're talking about is just when you hear a hen get aggressive, that's almost uh,
Yeah.
just as good as getting a gobble, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, the hen's
Yeah.
there. There's probably a gobbler there with her. He's not gobbling. Let's piss her off and get her to
Yeah.
come through. That's been
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something about the swamp or what. Um, it probably has more to do with just the fact that I'm hunting Florida early
Yeah.
and they're earlier in their process. They're just a lot
Yeah.
more likely to be henned up. By the time it
Yeah.
opens here in Alabama, you know, most of them are henned up and stuff like that. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's not unlikely to find a 2-year-old turkey that's by himself or
Yeah.
2 2-year-olds that are by themselves that haven't found hens yet,
Yeah.
or have already bred, which I guess was
Right.
the reason for late the late start here is
Yeah.
to give them a
Uh,
chance to already do the thing.
yeah. And I think that's the same thing with Iowa too, because I can remember hunting the second weekend in March, but now the second weekend in April, but now the second weekend in April is now youth season.
Hmm.
So we have, we have a big time span between, or like, I shouldn't say big, it's a week, right? They pushed it back a week, I think, to help. This was several years ago, to help, um, just make sure the first batch gets bred. There's no pressure, right? Because I could go out there today, or like tomorrow morning, and hear gobbles now, right? And so,
Right.
so I'm looking forward to getting out there and listen to some gobbles again. But talk to me about something that you do that really works for you. Is there a strategy or a process? Because, one thing that we talk about is what you were saying earlier, and that is I have a story that can contradict every another story. Like, I can tell you a story about how hunting in the rain sucks, but I can also tell you a story about how hunting in the rain is awesome, right? Is there one thing in a turkey hunt, no matter what temperature it is, no matter what wind speed it is, or rain, sunny, warm, hot, cold, turkey's gobbling, they're not gobbling? Is there one thing that you are doing every single time, regardless of the scenario?
Hmm. I mean, the easy answer for me is a lot of what I've already talked about too.
Mm.
If the I'm gonna I'm gonna be very patient with
Yeah.
turkeys. I just learned to be patient with them. So
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest thing
Hmm.
is. But if I were to say the one thing that describes my turkey hunting style,
Yeah.
um, man, it's hard to do it any other way other than
Yeah.
that. Like I've learned to be okay. I got one for you. Here's one. This is a good one. This is something new. Um, that we haven't really talked about is I'm gonna lean more on locator calls than I am on turkey calls most of the time.
Okay.
Um, now I will. I'm not afraid to overcall even
When you
sometimes,
say
but
overcall, you mean overcall using a crow or an owl or a coyote call?
Well, I'm absolutely so I do the natural voice owl hoot, so I don't have
Yeah.
to use any gear for it. I feel like I'm pretty decent at it. I like to do the owl scream. A
Yep.
lot of people call it the screech, which is just kind of a, it's
Yep.
a real high pitched noise. Um, and so I do that nonstop. I mean,
Hmm.
there's obviously a difference when you know there's a turkey around versus on days when nothing's going on and you're just doing everything you can to strike a turkey. So
Yeah.
let's talk about let's say that on the days when I'm just trying to strike a turkey and I don't have any, I don't, there's not one around or whatever. I'm going to be using that owl hoot a
Yeah.
lot. And the reason is because it gives no indication to a turkey that might be in the area
Yeah.
that another turkey's like, it gives them no reason to focus their attention in that
Yeah.
direction. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, if I'm walking ridge to ridge to ridge kind of day like that,
Hmm.
I'm gonna start with the owl scream. Sometimes that doesn't work, and sometimes you're just so desperate for a gobble that you're gonna pull out the call and you're gonna really try to reach out there. I've got an aluminum
Yeah.
nightingale pot call. It's the long spur, and I actually lost it, and a super nice dude on Facebook reached out and gave me his, because it's worked a lot.
Hmm.
Um, it's struck a lot of turkeys for me, but yeah, the natural voice owl hoot, the crow call, it gives them no reason to think that they just don't have any reason to spook at it,
Yeah.
and so I can't tell you how many times you walk up on the ridge and let out an owl hoot or a scream, and you strike a turkey
Yeah.
50, 60 yards down the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, if I would have struck him with, I may have probably would have struck him with a call,
Hmm.
but he might be coming right to me, or he might look up and see me. You let out an owl scream, they're going to gobble at it. If you're that
Hmm.
close, a lot of times you'll get the gobble, but you won't. You'll have plenty of time to set up without having to worry about he's coming. He's coming right now. You find your best setup, and so I just found that to work for me a whole lot
Yeah.
more, um, in my favor than striking them with a turkey call, and
Yeah.
it works. Like the I learned how to do the scream. I'm a singer, so I already work out my lungs a lot. That was probably a pretty big advantage. It's like kind of going up into your head voice, I guess. I'll
Yeah.
do it for you. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it
Yeah.
away from the microphone.
Yeah.
So
Owl hoot
it's a
into
shot.
owl scream.
So it'll be the opposite. It'll go the
Okay.
scream into the hoot. But
Okay.
I'll do
All right.
the hoot. I can do the hoot first. That's not
Yeah.
nothing groundbreaking, right?
Yeah.
But I'll do the.
Okay.
And it echoes for freaking ever. It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So learn how to do it. Like, or get something like that, a woodpecker call,
Yeah.
the pileated
Blue
woodpecker, a
Jays.
hawk,
Blue Jays.
blue
They
jays,
scream.
something that's just
Yep.
like real loud, high pitch, cuts through the wind. I
Yep.
mean, and so I lean on it, man. Like
Yeah.
I figured out I'm not that great of a turkey caller. I'm okay, but
Hmm.
I try not to lean on that. But I feel like I can lean on that scream on a day when it's just not good, or first thing in the morning. I mean, I'm not scared to do it before they gobble, just to get a right
Yeah.
direction, because
Yeah.
it does not ever seem to hinder my turkey hunts. I've done it at turkeys that were 50 yards away, and they just gobble and go about their
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. Now I'm going to do my owl hoot, and you tell me if I should continue to do it in the woods or don't do it because you're not fooling anybody. Okay.
Sure.
So, I'm basically telling you I suck at this. Not bad,
I've heard worse
dude.
strike a
I'm
turkey.
getting better, dude. I'm getting better.
It's kind of like Creed. That's what I was trying to teach my son how to do it. You kind of got to do this R. I just heard, like you got to do the R. or Dave Matthews are, and you just look at that, and you do the.
God,
That's
I'm
not
getting
bad,
good.
dude. Yeah,
I'm getting
pretty
good. Hey, dude, watch out. Watch out, grand champion coming back to Nashville or coming to Nashville.
Dude, NWTF just did it was like a virtual head-to-head natural voice owl hoot. And I didn't enter into it, but I've been watching them, and there's some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see what, like, there's kids out there who are making all kinds of noises with their mouth,
yeah.
like just crazy noises, like Bo Brooks. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I've heard of him.
He made calling cool again. Like people are like young kids are just making all kinds of crazy sounds with their mouth. I feel pretty good about my owl hoot, but dang, I saw some videos of 9-year-olds at NWTF that were putting me to shame.
Just crushing it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, there's guys out there who do turkey calls like Kiki runs and yelps and everything, and they're doing it with no diaphragm. They're doing it just with their mouth. So there's that. So, well, I tell you what, Parker, man, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to hop on and BS with me for a little bit. Man, good luck this upcoming season. I'm sending good vibes your way. How many states are you going to try to hunt this year?
Well, I'll start out in Florida, and then do Alabama. I'll probably have a Tennessee tag. It's so easy for me to get up there. But most of it's going to be, I'm putting most of my eggs in the basket of the West Coast. And I think the plan is to be gone for about 12 days on that trip and do, 3 or 4 states. The great thing about turkey hunting is a lot of times the tags are a lot cheaper, so you can be a little bit more flexible with where you go. If it takes you longer in this state, it takes you longer and you don't get to hunt as many states or whatever. You just kind of making a swing and seeing how many turkeys you can kill in that swing. So I got some buddies that are going to go. I actually was invited onto this trip, and so it ought to be a pretty good time. I've gone to Montana, I've been to Wyoming, I've been to Nebraska, but that's the furthest west I've ever gone to hunt a turkey. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Good luck, man. Good luck wherever you hunt. Hopefully your owl call, your owl hoot pays off, and they all sound off and they come running in. So good luck, Parker, man. Appreciate your time. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you guys next time. If you guys could do me a huge favor, go to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you download the How to Hunt Turkey podcast. Please give it a 5-star review. Leave a comment about how awesome this podcast is. I would appreciate it. Also, go to YouTube and check out the How to Hunt Turkey YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to that. Comment there as well. Thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.